I jolted awake to the press of warm lips against my forehead, soft and trembling, like a secret too heavy to hold any longer. In the hazy glow of the bedside clock, 2:17 a.m., I saw Malcolm's face hovering above mine, his green eyes wide with a terror that mirrored my own racing heart. "I can't pretend anymore, Uncle Elliot," he whispered, his voice cracking like thunder in the quiet Seattle night, pulling me into a storm I never saw coming. That kiss wasn't just a brush of skin. It was a detonation, ripping through the fragile walls I'd built around my solitary life. I'm Elliot Harper, 47 years old, a high school history teacher in this perpetually drizzled corner of the Pacific Northwest. My days are a rhythm of chalk dust and teenage essays on the American Revolution. My nights a ritual of takeout Thai and reruns of old noir films to drown out the echo of an empty queen-sized bed. I'd buried my queerness deep after my sister, Malcolm's mom, begged me to keep it together for the family's sake when I came out in my 30s. No parades, no pride flags. Just quiet survival in a city that prides itself on progress, but still whispers behind closed doors. Malcolm had shown up unannounced 3 weeks earlier, his beat-up Subaru packed with duffel bags and unspoken baggage. At 23, he was all sharp angles and restless energy. Tall like his father, with my sister's freckles dusting his nose and those piercing green eyes that could disarm you with a glance. He'd dropped out of community college in Portland after a bad breakup, or so he said in the email that blindsided me. "Need a place to crash, Uncle E. Family's too much right now." I didn't press. Blood's thicker than curiosity, especially when it's the last thread connecting me to the sister I barely see anymore. Our first days fell into an easy routine, the kind that fools you into thinking life's simple. Mornings, I'd brew coffee strong enough to wake the dead, and he'd stumble in from the guest room, hair a wild halo, grinning over mugs as we swapped stories. He'd tease me about my obsession with vinyl records, Springsteen mostly, the Nebraska album on repeat, and I'd rib him for his TikTok scrolls, those endless feeds of queer icons and indie bands screaming about heartbreak. "You're too old for this angst, kid," I'd say, but his laugh lit up my dim kitchen like sunlight breaking through fog. Seattle suited him, or so it seemed. We'd hike the damp trails of Discovery Park, boots squelching in the mud, him pointing out hidden coves where seals basked on rocks. "Feels like freedom out here," he'd say, voice carrying over the crash of waves. I'd nod, stealing glances at the way his flannel shirt clung to his shoulders after a rain squall, reminding me uncomfortably of my own youth, the crushes I buried under football jerseys and straight-laced promises. But Malcolm? He wore his queerness like a badge, casual stories of ex-boyfriends slipping into conversations over pizza slices. Guy was a mess, Uncle E. Thought love meant owning someone. I'd chuckle, masking the pang, wondering if he knew how those words echoed my own ghosts. Evenings blurred into something warmer, dangerously so. We'd collapse on the couch after my grading marathons, splitting a six-pack of Rainier while binging documentaries on civil rights heroes. Bayard Rustin, the man who orchestrated the March on Washington but stayed in the shadows because the world wasn't ready for a gay black man to shine. Malcolm's eyes would spark. He fought for everyone, but who fought for him? I paused the screen, the weight of it settling. Us now. That's the point. Our talks veered personal then, late-night confessions fueled by the hoppy bite of beer. He spoke of his mom's disapproval, the Bible verses hurled like accusations after she found his Grindr app. She said I was choosing sin over family. His voice hollowed, and I'd reach over, squeezing his knee. A platonic anchor, or so I told myself. Family's what you make it, Mel, not what they force on you. I should have seen the signs, the way his gaze lingered a beat too long when I stretched after a run, or how he'd brush my arm in the kitchen, electric and accidental. But denial's a hell of a drug, especially when it's laced with blood ties. That night, the one that shattered us, started ordinary enough. A Friday, grading done early, we'd hit a dive bar in Capitol Hill, neon signs flickering over sticky floors, drag queens lip-syncing to Madonna between sets. Malcolm downed shots like they were water, laughing too loud at my dad jokes, his hand on my back steadying me through the crowd. "You're my hero, you know that?" He slurred as we stumbled home, rain slicking the streets. I waved it off, blaming the whiskey, but his words burrowed deep. By the time I crashed, the room spun gently, sheets cool against my skin. Sleep came fast, dreamless, until that kiss. When my eyes snapped open, Malcolm froze, his face inches from mine, breath mingling in the charged air. He didn't pull away immediately. His thumb traced my jawline, featherlight, eyes searching mine for absolution or rejection. Malcolm, what? My voice rasped, heart hammering. He jerked back, collapsing onto the edge of the bed, head in hands.
I'm sorry.
God, I'm so sorry. I love you, Uncle Elliot. Not like family. Like, more. The room tilted. The rain outside a relentless drumbeat mocking my silence. Love. The word hung there. Forbidden fruit from the tree we'd both pretended didn't exist. I sat up, pulling the blanket like armor. My mind a whirlwind of taboos and truths. You don't mean that. You're drunk. Confused. No. He lifted his head, eyes fierce, tears carving tracks down his cheeks. I've felt it since I was 18, crashing here after Dad left. You were the only one who saw me, really saw me. Not the screw-up, not the queer kid. Just me. His confession poured out then, a torrent. The stolen glances over family Thanksgivings, the letters he'd written and burned, the way he'd modeled his coming out after mine, only to crash against walls I knew too well. Betrayal flickered in my chest. Not at him, but at the universe for dangling this impossible thread. I wanted to hold him, to say it was okay, that feelings like these were wildfires in youth. But the uncle in me recoiled, the man who'd spent decades compartmentalizing desire behind lesson plans and loneliness. This can't happen, Malcolm. We're family. Blood. The words tasted like ash. He nodded, wiping his face, but the damage was done. He slipped from the room like a shadow, door clicking shut, leaving me adrift in the wreckage. Dawn crept in gray and unforgiving, coffee bitter on my tongue as I replayed the night. Malcolm emerged late, hollow-eyed, mumbling apologies over cereal. Forget it, okay? Heat of the moment. But the air crackled, every glance loaded. We tiptoed through the weekend. Awkward hikes where silence swallowed our steps, movies ignored for the space between us on the couch. I buried myself in work, prepping lectures on the Stonewall riots, irony twisting like a knife. Heroes who'd fought for love I now denied. By Monday, the fracture widened. A call from his mom, my sister Laura, crackled through the line during lunch. Malcolm's been dodging me. What's going on up there? Her voice sharp, laced with that Midwestern suspicion she'd honed since our folks passed. I hedged, stomach churning. Just adjusting. Give him time. But she pressed, and in a moment of exhaustion, I cracked. Not the kiss, God no, but enough. He's struggling with identity stuff, like I did. Silence, then her hiss. Don't you dare drag him into your lifestyle, Elliot. He's vulnerable. Betrayal, swift and slicing. She'd known my truth for years, tolerated it like a stain on the family carpet. But now, weaponized. That night, Malcolm overheard, eavesdropping from the hall, his face crumpling when I found him later, staring at the fridge like it held answers. She hates me too, doesn't she? No, I wanted to say, she hates what she can't control. Instead, I pulled him into a hug, the first real one since the kiss, brotherly, safe. But his body tensed, then melted, arms wrapping tight. I don't want to lose you, he murmured into my shoulder. You're all I have left that's real. The words undid me. We talked then, really talked, sprawled on the living room floor amid scattered records. He admitted the breakup in Portland wasn't just a guy. It was a mirror to his feelings for me, pushing him to run north. I confessed my own regrets. The lover I'd let go in college because family came first, the pride flags I'd folded away. Love's not a checklist, Mel. But it's not a free-for-all either. Vulnerability bridged us, tentative, but the undercurrent pulled stronger. His hand finding mine, fingers lacing in the dim light. Word count crept toward 1,000 as the week blurred, our routine fracturing into something intimate. Dinners became confessions over stir-fry, his laughter pulling me from the edge. But conflict brewed, dark and inevitable. Laura arrived unannounced that Friday, tires crunching gravel outside my apartment like Judgment Day. Malcolm tensed at the window, and I knew. This was the storm's eye. She burst in, all peroxide hair and pressed slacks, eyes scanning like a hawk. "Family meeting," she declared, dropping her purse with a thud. Malcolm shrank into the couch, but I stood firm. "Laura, easy. He's an adult." Her gaze flicked between us, accusatory. "Is he? Or is this your influence?" The air thickened, words flying like shrapnel, her railing about confusion. Me defending his right to breathe free, Malcolm silent until he snapped. "It's not Uncle Elliot's fault, Mom. It's mine. I love him." The room froze, his voice a grenade. Laura's face drained white. "What did you say?" He repeated it, standing tall, green eyes blazing. Betrayal etched her features, not just at the words, but at the truth they'd unearthed in her own brother. "You corrupted him," she whispered, turning on me, tears venomous. "After everything, Dad's heart attack from your news, the holidays you ruined, lies, all of it, but they landed like blows, dredging ghosts I'd thought buried." Malcolm stepped between us, hand on her arm. "Stop. It's not corruption. It's real." She recoiled, storming out with a slammed door that rattled the windows. Rain lashed the glass as we stood there, wreckage in our wake. He turned to me, broken but unbroken. "I didn't mean to blow it up." I pulled him close, foreheads touching, echo of that night, but awake now. "You didn't. She did." That clash marked the turning, conflict crystallizing into resolve. Laura cut contact, texts icy, "Fix this or lose us both." But Malcolm and I, we leaned in, navigating the minefield. Days turned to therapy sessions. Mine first, unpacking decades of suppression. His, forging identity from ashes. We set boundaries, fierce and kind. No more blurred lines, but honesty as our compass. Hikes became therapy, waves crashing truths into the shore. "I still feel it," he admitted one dusk, salt air whipping our faces. "The pull." I nodded, throat tight. "Me too. But love evolves, Mal. It can be fierce without consuming." Suspense built as autumn deepened, leaves carpeting paths in gold and rot. A letter arrived from Laura, handwritten, trembling script. "I was wrong. Scared. Come home for Thanksgiving." Betrayal's echo, but laced with olive branch. Malcolm read it aloud, voice steady. "What do we do?" We talked through the night, vinyl spinning low. "Dylan's, the times they are a-changin'. Decision forged in fire, go but on our terms. No hiding." The drive south was a gauntlet. I-5 a ribbon of tension under gray skies. Malcolm's hand drummed the dash, radio flipping stations, queer anthems to numb the miles. Arrival at the old family home in Tacoma hit like a gut punch. Colonial facades sagging under ivy, ghosts in every creak. Laura waited on the porch, arms crossed, but her hug, stiff, then softening, cracked the ice. Dinner was a minefield. Turkey dry, conversations skirting edges. Then, over pie, it erupted. Malcolm set down his fork. "Mom, we need to talk about what I said." Eyes down but voice clear. She stiffened, glancing at me. "Elliot's my brother. He's family." He nodded. "And more. Not like that, not anymore. But he showed me how to be brave." Confession spilled. The kiss, the chaos, our rebuilding. No details to scorch, just the raw heart. Laura listened, fork trembling, then wept. Not anger, but grief for the son she'd nearly lost to fear. "I thought I was protecting you." Malcolm reached across, hand over hers. "You can still." Climax crested that night, after she'd gone to bed. Malcolm and I slipped out to the backyard swing, stars pricking the chill. "Think she'll forgive?" he asked, breath fogging. I shrugged. "Forgiveness isn't erasure. It's space." He leaned head on my shoulder, brotherly now, the weight lifting. But then, his phone buzzed. A text from an ex in Portland. "Miss you. Come back." Opportunities whisper, tempting escape. Betrayal loomed not from family but choice. "Go if you need to," I said, heart clenching. "This, us, it's not chains." He pocketed the phone, green eyes locking mine. "Nah, Seattle's home. You're home." The swing creaked, world steadying. Thanksgiving dawn broke clear, rare mercy. Laura joined us for coffee, words halting. "I was wrong about you, Elliot. About everything." Hug came fierce, mending threads. We drove north that afternoon. Radio humming folk tunes. Malcolm asleep against the window. Peaceful. Whole. Months folded forward. Winter yielding to tentative spring. Malcolm enrolled at UW, crashing my place between classes, our bond a quiet revolution. Movie nights with his boyfriend. Met at a campus rally, sweet kid named Theo. Me dating cautiously, a barista with laugh lines and no baggage. Laura visited. Thanksgiving a tradition reborn. Conversations laced with I love yous, unburdened. That stolen kiss. Scar tissue now, tender reminder. It didn't define us. It freed us. Love, I've learned, isn't a lightning strike. It's the slow burn, humanistic in its mess. Family's not blood alone. It's the choices that bind, the forgiveness that heals. And in the rainy heart of America, where progress drips like northwest mist, we chose to bloom.